Hello and welcome to another World of Warcraft Midnight video. In this one, I did a little bit of beta testing in the housing, as well as some just hands-on with Haranir, at least some initial experiences with it and the customization. So we're going to be talking about those two things specifically, but first we're going to quell a little bit of hopefully a concern that a lot of players have about Hearthstone. I mean, maybe this will, maybe this won't, but this post came out saying that less than 1% of housing decor items are currently flagged as shop sources. Now, it's hard to tell exactly how far the depth is, but it does say 2,208. I don't know if they're going as far as some of the catalog sites that I've seen online, but less than 1% of them, I would imagine that would be, if it's 2.2, what is that? 22 items? Is that roughly it? 22, 23, 20-ish items are shop items. Some of the comments, though, are definitely saying that, well, that's what it is for now. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be that way, but let's take a look at some of the items that we have here. Of course, well detailed on the shop items. They usually are. This goes for Transmog as well. You can see sort of the set here, the Cherry Blossom set, as well as a Spring Garden. And then you have some mushrooms and lawn designs, as well as some Easter designs going on. I think the design is not necessarily, I guess, the issue. I think pricing, one, of course, is going to matter. One, and then the other part is, well, how many times do we have to purchase it? Because looking at some of these items here, for the most part, it seems people's methods in this is to buy in bulk and then have more versus less, so you don't have to do as much. But how does that compare to a shop item? Do you have like essentially the lease to a shop item when you buy it, and you can get as many as you want, and then you just buy it with gold after you have it? Because this says, alpha players, is there limited nature of housing items any fun? Does the alpha allow players to test acquisition of housing items as it is planned as present? Specifically, the requirement to buy the exact number of each. I want 4 chairs, and I only bought 3. I need to go to a vendor to buy another. So the answer is, unfortunately, that is the case where if you do buy 3, you can't just like produce the 4th. You have to get all 4, so you'll have to go back to the vendor. So the back and forth can be a bit frustrating. The other part about it is that these items can cost a bit of gold too. The comment that I saw here says, take away more. It takes way more gameplay than it adds. So yeah, people will get to engage with old world and with events and factions they haven't touched in years, perhaps repeatedly, as they farm up furniture. But some people are just going to give up when they realize how long their sandbox ideas will take. And this is what I was concerned about with this whole Hearthstone thing, is that not only is it just promoting microtransactions as a general rule, it's also this nature of, well, each item is a static item and it is nothing else. It goes as far as the customization of furniture in maybe Stardew Valley, where you get like a set of things, but everything else is just, you got to like plug and play where you can and hope you have like proper mods to like fill in the proper colors in other spots. So I guess my overall concern with housing right now is that instead of getting like, say, a wooden chest, that you can customize the bearings or the brackets or some of the items, or maybe the handle on the chest to be a different color, design, material, and you have this one item that's heavily customizable. And where the shop comes in is they go, hey, whenever you use this chest, it opens, maybe has an open up animation that has like a different shine to it, and then maybe the interior has like a different inside to it, that you don't just go into the menu, it actually opens and you can see in it. Instead of adding like, I guess, unique features, it seems like we're just getting more static items that don't have more customization, and it's still just like a base unlock. That's what I'm seeing. And I think, unfortunately, like the comment says, I think you're going to have a lot of people who are going to be stuck where it goes, well, I just don't want to do all that. And you just kind of stop it. But this is my overall philosophy with housing right now, is that if you're starting out housing with this idea of, we're going to funnel people into two different groups, people who are payers into the system and people who aren't, you're separating those two groups of people, one, and then two, you're making it to where now you're putting those two people against each other, whereas like the other way around, it could be something people could look at, be envious of, just like, I mean, mounts back in the day, or like those chase items, those legendary items that people would look for. And you instead put people on one side or the other who go, no, I disrespect you, and you're buying into a system that's bad for other people. And I think that there's a group of people who go, it doesn't bother you if you don't do it, but then 6 months down the line, they get tired of the people who have the paid items and are able to buy all the paid items are constantly put above the rest of the people who are investing, you know, time, achievements, all that kind of stuff into the system, and essentially are the building blocks to it. So what do I think are the solutions to this? I think you need to make any shop items like hold off. Like I think shop items need to not exist for a hot minute. One, and then two, I think you need to make it to where if you're adding purchasable items, that those purchasable items have either more in-depth customization to where you can tinker things a little bit further, or two, you can take an item you do like and unlock that said customization, say for like a color palette set. And that's what you could purchase. If you don't want to buy more items, you essentially open up the palettes that you do have so you can have more options there, or more, maybe more textures, more styles, or say if you're going from wood or stone, that type of thing. Allow people to customize in that way for people who don't just want to buy a single item, or instead of getting 3 chairs, you know, I get to get 4 chairs, that type of thing. It just seems silly at a certain point when you're nickeling, diming people. It just feels very, it feels like an easy way to limit the growth of housing before it's even out. So the second part I wanted to talk about, like I said, was the Haranir. I think that there's going to be a lot of people playing it once the expansion comes out. But let's talk about some of the customizations here. Some of these initial customizations that they have, that they've released and showed pictures on, are Moonkin, Aquatic, Flight, and of course the Treant forms. So starting with the Moonkin, of course, a much more slim type of build for these. I think the style is definitely, I think it's more dark, and I like that style, especially some of these other ones. It definitely looks very much like some of the Legion characters we've seen recently. I like how that feels very inspired. And then just some of the customizations as well, with some of the horns. And then this is the aquatic form, very axolotl inspired, mostly with the color to start. And then now you also have the fins and that style. And then looks like maybe the mouth? I can't tell on that one exactly. Oh yeah, the teeth, okay. And the eyebrows, some of these better than others. And then the flight forms. Of course, we've seen this before, but some of the coloring here is really solid. I really do like this color as a general rule. It is actually really cool. Probably my favorite of theirs. This is probably a close second with the orange here. I do like the Treant forms. They almost look very like silly to me. So they remind me of, what was it, the grunts from like Halo. some of the customizations there with looks like the teeth. And then you also have the bear, cat, and travel forms. So these very, I guess, rat bear-esque. So I think these are very unique. The ear styles are very cool. And then kind of like a mixture of, like, I guess, the bat without wings, kind of. Is it this one, the nose? This one's the nose. This one's like a saber tooth. The spines I'm not a big fan of personally for the Haranir, but once again, the coloring, this is just great. Like a teal, dark teal, and the burgundy is like super cool. This to me looks a little too Joker, but I could see the appeal. The nose customization on that one too. This one like a weasel, maybe like a ferret of some sort. The coloring, once again, the eyes on this one, insanely good. The ears, the nose. Yeah, the spining is definitely interesting. I am curious about like why the spining is like that. They say the Haranir bear form takes the shape of a furred pangolin. Okay, so like, I guess they were intending on matching that of some sort. So my thoughts on this, just like anybody else though, is, you know, when it comes to customization of the Haranir, is, are we going to get customization for other druids and their styles? Because to me, this helps stand out in something from its regular to its transformed form. I think that it's cool to see features that are accentuated in the normal character customization, say things like the ears, as well as in the druid form. Now, I do think that these should go even more in depth. I think more customization like this in general is good, but I fear that we may only get this and that's it. I mean, it's kind of, I guess, their expansion to shine, so they may not do it until later, if anything, is what I'd imagine. But I do like customization like this as a general rule. I think it definitely stands out how certain features of the character are able to be customized in shape, and we're not just having to do color like that. The color is great, but I think the shape and designs is something else. One of the ones I don't use in customization as a general rule is the face paint, body paint ones, but I do love changing shape, texture, design, sort of breaking, scarring, those type of things is cool. I think that this is definitely a W for their designs. They're unique. They stand out. They are uniquely Haranir. So, for those of you who haven't jumped through the character customization, it's definitely it's oddly surprising how different the Haranir customization is from anything I'm used to with elf customization. We've done a lot of elves-esque, and as many know, Haranir are very elf-esque in their builds. But something I wasn't expecting with Haranir is that you could make Dobby the house elf. So I spent my time when I started the beta making Dobby, and so I just wanted to highlight how hilarious that ended up being at the end of it all. And so yeah, definitely in the uncanny valley of things with the Haranir. But with those two things said, I think there's a lot of good that can come from housing in the idea of just customize, like more in-depth customization like they've been building. I think, like many have said, though, the housing collection can feel sort of bare bones, at least right now. Even if you get all the items in the catalog, you're running with it. It says, mechanics-wise, 10 out of 10, like decorating a house feels very silky smooth. I kind of disagree. I think it can be kind of clunky, and jumping through menus is not very fluid. Rotating items, it doesn't necessarily snap to certain points. Like, I want things to snap against the wall flat, flush. I want to snap things against the floor or ceiling flush. But when you're rotating things, it doesn't always work out that way. However, decoration, the collection feels lacking. I was expecting way more related stuff. I want to decorate my walls with trophies on my account, like legendaries I collected over the years. Heads of raid bosses as shown in the cinematic, like make the house a reflection of playing this game for so many years. I'm not sure if the beta offers the full collection. 100%, that's not that's I didn't expect them to have to this level, but I will still agree that the collection is overall quite lacking. I think that there is the basics, and that you get some windows, you get some bedding, you get some lighting, and you get those options. But I'm not to the point where I guess I want to throw in or immerse like 10 windows into the wall just so I can have some lighting. To me, I feel like what we should have instead is, if we're wanting to plus lighting or increase lighting, we should be able to put a little like an orb in a location to project more lighting from a location. That way, if we want to create like a dark corner, we can customize it as opposed to getting another item. I think before, when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it's great. You can kind of like use items and customize them how you want and position them. So it's like you could put a window on the ceiling and then you have, what do they call it? A skylight. But now that I'm seeing that there is numerical values that you can reach the max of, to me, I don't want to waste any of that space on some highly customized design if it means each item I'm going to have to do is a gold cost. Each item is going to be, like, sure, they don't collide, but it's going to be more of a burden design-wise if it doesn't snap properly. So I will say some improvements should be made there, need to be made there. And then continuing further with the Haranir, I think that when it comes to the Haranir, right now, the main thing is going to be needing to sell people on the intro starter areas. I am curious as far as how much that's been fleshed out. I haven't tried it yet, but so far the look and feel of Haranir does feel uniquely them. I will concede that it's not too one way of anything. Of course, people say there's too many elves in the game, that there's everything is an elf in WoW as of late. But I do think that Blizzard had done a good job to make this distinctly its own. Give it its own lore, give it its own interest. So I am hopeful in seeing what comes forth with that. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. If you liked it, give it a like. Subscribe to the page while you're at it for more World of Warcraft Midnight content. And of course, as per usual, check us out. We're going to be streaming and changing our stream schedule. Our new stream schedule is now going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we're going to be posting to YouTube on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you'll be getting something all across the week. And then, of course, little bits of content, shorts, TikToks, of course, in those little off days. But that'll be my new schedule moving forward. If you want to catch me live, I do stream at 10 p.m. CET, so Central European time. So it's a bit difficult to reach me in the normal hours for most people. But I hope I can catch you live on a stream, or just in the comment sections. Just let me know what you've been able to build and what's been your favorite parts about experiencing the beta so far. But until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.